Hello friends, and welcome to another scrap along session. Today I'm going to be working with the Birthday Jubilee collection from Creative Memories. This released a few weeks back and I absolutely love this collection. I haven't stopped being able to create layouts with it. I'm actually going to share some of the pages that I've made with this collection so far, but I just wanted to walk through it as we're getting started to scrap together today. It's a collection, for me, I just find pages come together so easily because of the size of the layered borders with this collection, as well as the embellishments. Not everybody likes big embellishments, and I totally get that. For me personally, I love them, and you can see here we've got some really big titles that come with this collection, and there's some fabulous embellishments as well. A favourite has been these oversized balloons. I've been having a lot of fun with these. There's lots of tags and of course, you know, birthday themed embellishments. These are all embossed as well, so absolutely love the embellishment pack. I've of course got the stickers, and again these layered borders just make putting a page together so easy. All the decorative elements, it's all been done for you. It's just a matter of sticking these down onto your designer papers and your page will just come to life. So for today, I've actually got more embellishments left over than I have papers. I've actually got to order more papers, strangely enough. These are the only papers that I have got left. So this is all that I've got to work with today for my layout. I've already printed my photos. I've got a 4x4 and I have a 4x6. So before we get started, as promised, I will share with you some of the layouts I've already made. Now these layouts have come together using my February 2025 sketchbook. This is now available on my website, papersweetpea.com. I will link that below this video, but all of these layouts have been created with my sketchbook using the Birthday Jubilee collection. You can see here these oversized balloons. I just love those. This is a great example of those layered borders and the large title. It just brings a layout together so quickly. I created some double page designs as well that have come together nicely, just using a plain background. I've just used some white cardstock for that. I love these little Polaroid frames that came in the embellishment pack. They're super cute. You'd be able to add, you know, a cut down smaller photo behind those. Another layout, and I finished with another double page design, and I've worked in the oversized happy birthday banner layered border for this design. So let's get started on today's design. I'm going to bring in a sheet of blue cardstock. I have mentioned this before to you, but I'll just say it again. On your cover sheets for your designer papers, Creative Memories always lists the coordinating cardstock colors. So if ever you're unsure about what cardstock colors would look best with your paper collection, Creative Memories have done all the hard work for you, and they will list the colors that they believe suit this collection best. To conserve my cardstock, I'm going to use this as a frame, so I am going to remove the center first, and that way I can use the offcuts for my photo mats. So I'm just bringing in my 12-inch trimmer, and I have demonstrated this before. I'm just going to cut away a 1-inch wide frame. So I'm just going to start by cutting those 1-inch wide slits around the outside of my cardstock, and that way I can start to gut the center of that cardstock. It's just a great way of being able to save that little bit extra and use it for something else for your layout or another project. So I've removed the center and I'm left with a 1-inch wide frame. And I'm going to use this light blue paper for my background. I think It tends to go well with the colour of my little photos there, since this little guy's wearing a light blue shirt. And I'm going to trim this down to 11.5 inches by 11.5 inches. So we're just trimming away that little bit. Now before I stick that into place, I'm just going to bring in my adhesive dots, and I'm just going to remove a little bit of the stickiness on my t-shirt, but I like to just anchor the paper frame to my cutting mat, just so it doesn't slide about while I'm trying to get that top sheet into place. And by removing some of the adhesive onto my t-shirt, it's going to make sure that it doesn't leave a residue on my cutting mat or do any damage to my cardstock. So I've just put one in opposite corners, and then I'm going to just come in and put my frame nice and square on my cutting mat. So that's not going to move now when I come in and stick down that top layer. Okay, so once you've got your background all sorted, it's just a matter of just gently peeling that adhesive dot off the back. These little adhesive dots are no longer available, but I when we had the little promo with those available, I actually bought a stack of those and I use them all the time. Okay, so that has our background all prepared. What I really want to do is actually add in some fringed strips of designer paper and then layer some of these borders as well. And I think I'm going to use, I really love this border here. And I think I'm going to work with, I think I'm going to go with this banner as well, so I can get these other ones out of the way. Okay, so I basically want to have, you know, my banner to the top, and then I thought I would have some fringed layered piece of papers below this strip here, just to add a bit of colour to my layout. The only thing is I really want to use some of these designer papers here, and this is all I've got left, but I am still going to make them work for what we're after. So what I'm going to do, I've got the check paper here as well as that dark blue, and I'm going to start by cutting a 1.75 inch wide strip. So 1.75, the same from the navy paper, the stripy paper, 1.75. Now, because we did cut down the width of our background, I'm just going to trim that down to 11.5 inches, just so that it'll fit the width of our page. So we've got two strips. They are 11.5 by 1.75. Now I also want to work with this teeny tiny little strip I've got here. And this is going to work for us. This is just over 6 inches in length. So I'm still going to cut two strips at 1.75. We've just got enough, look at that. So we've got our two strips there. Now I'm going to cut one down to 6 inches in length. And I'm going to cut the second one down to 5.5 inches in length. And that's going to give us our 11.5 inch length. It's just that it's split in two, but it's really not going to matter because these strips are going to have fringe cutting all the way along them. And once that's brought together, you're not even going to know that that's 2 strips of paper. So that's just a little clever paper hack. Now I am going to cheat a little bit today, but I am going to show you with my scissors. I've got my smaller scissors from Creative Memories, just because they've just got that lovely sharp tips on the end of the blade. It's just a matter of cutting some really thin fringing strips. And I'm cutting as far as probably, I don't know, probably 1/4 inch down from the top. And it's just a matter of doing this all the way along on your strips. I am, however, going to cheat because in my craft stash, I have my trusty pair of fringe scissors. I can't even tell you where I bought these. I've had them for about 1,000 years, but as you can see, they make one of my favorite techniques all the more simpler and faster. It's like you're using 5 pairs of scissors at once. So I'm just going to make my way along, and whether you're using just regular scissors or perhaps you have a pair of these as well, just make your way along each strip. Don't panic if you accidentally cut one of the little fringe strips away, it won't matter. Try not to cut your fingers. So we fringe cut all the way along. A little technique that I like to do, it is a little messy, but I just like to go along with my scissors and just remove here and there a few of the ends of the fringe. And what that does, it just separates it that little bit. We use this technique, you'll remember my last video when we made little fringe flowers. I use this technique for those as well, for any of you that watched that video. It just opens up that fringing and gives it more texture and dimension for your page. So you're going to have confetti go everywhere. But I am going to repeat this now for these other strips. Same thing for these smaller strips. Again, we're going to be bringing these together, so it doesn't matter that we didn't have the correct length left in our paper. So once you've got all of your fringe strips all finished, we can bring in our background once more and just place that on your cutting mat. And we're going to start layering these over the top of each other on the bottom of the page. Now I'm going to leave probably, I don't know, a good 1/4 inch of that light blue showing before we stick the first one down. And I'm going to use my repositionable tape, and I can just run it along the back of the top of the strip there where we didn't cut into. And we can stick the first one into place, getting it nice and straight. Then I'm going to lay the second one over the top so that you're just seeing just that little bit of the first layer, just exactly the same. Like so. Now we can bring our 2 halves in, and this is where, like I was saying at the start, you're not going to be able to tell that we haven't used a full strip. Okay, so we have our fringed borders into place. This is where I'm going to bring in one of my layered borders, and this is what I was saying to you. Now that we've got those fringed layered pieces into place, you can't even tell that one of those strips is in halves. Now, because these layered borders are a 12-inch width, it means it's going to sit right to the outside edge of my blue cardstock rather than, you know, the designer paper we cut down to be 11.5 inches. I'm okay with that because I really don't want to cut down the shape of this border. So I'm okay with that being, it's a risen border, it's got foam squares in there anyway. I'm okay with it going to the width of the cardstock. I'm just going to add some more of my adhesive and stick that into place. Next, I'm going to come in with another layered border. This time it's the banner, and you can already see how quickly this layout's coming together thanks to these fun elements. So I'm taking the top of this border to the edge of the light blue designer paper, however it's still going to sit to the width of the cardstock, like so. Okay, so I've got my two photos here that I'm going to add to the layout. I've got a 4x4 and a 4x6. So I'm going to come back to that offcut of blue cardstock that we removed from the center to cut my photo mats. And the first one I'm going to cut is going to be 4.25 by 6.25. And then we're going to need a 4.25 by 4.25. And we're still going to have, you know, some cardstock left over. So put that away into your stash for another project. When you've got your photo mats, you can, of course, add your photos to that. And you're going to have just that small little edge of the blue cardstock poking out behind your photo. Like so. And we can bring back our layout to our cutting mat. And I kind of want to layer these photos together and then add some fun embellishments in behind. So I've got my two photos there. I do really want to use this fun balloon. As I said, I just think there's such a fun embellishment. You could easily add a really small photo to that, like a 2.5 by 2.5 inch photo. You could add some journaling to them. And I want to add a large title. So I'm not sure. That's probably a bit too big. We might go with our happy birthday to the base. We'll have our balloon here, and then we can add a small little embellishment to the top. So what I'll do is I'll get my photos stuck down, and then I'm going to actually add a little fun element to my balloon. It's just started pouring rain here. I don't know if you can hear that coming through my camera. That makes for the perfect scrappy day, don't you think, to have the rain? You don't have to feel guilty about not getting those outdoor jobs done. Okay, my two photos are in place. What I want to do, I've got my little balloon. I just want to add some baker's twine to it. It's got a little bit of baker's twine. I'm going to be a good girl and use fabric scissors and not paper scissors. I don't want to ruin my Creative Memory scissors. I've just cut a random length there. And I've got my trusty little Heidi Swap stapler. I use this all the time, great for journaling or for adding little elements to your scrap pages. It's quite a small staple, and I've got black in there at the moment, but I'm actually just going to take my baker's twine, line it up to the base of my balloon, and I'm going to staple that string into place. I'll bring in my layout. Now what I want to do with the length of that string, so it'll tuck in behind my photo. If we give it a little bit of a twirl in the string. So I know a lot of you are saying, how are you going to anchor that string to the paper? Well, I can show you. Got a little bit of a twirl. I'm going to bring in my Precision Point glue pen because this is fast drying and it allows you, as the name says, you can be very precise in where you want to put your glue. So I've just put just a really small dab of glue there. I'm just going to use my all-purpose tool just to hold that in place. And you know, it takes a little bit to dry, but you know, after a few seconds it's dry enough for you to be able to let go and keep working on your project. And you just need to be careful when you're sliding it into your page protectors in your album that you don't pop the string off, but the glue will hold this into place. Pretty good. And then we've got our little loop here, so I just want to put a little bit of glue there. And the good thing with the Creative Memories Precision Point glue pen is it comes out blue, the trademark shade of blue for Creative Memories, but it dries clear. So the blue is going to enable you to see, you know, exactly where you've put that little dab of glue, but once it dries clear, so you don't need to worry. And I'm going to take the string right down to the base, I think. I'm just going to cut that little frayed end off. Now, if you wanted to, you could staple the bottom end of it as well. I'm not going to, however. I'm just going to keep working with my glue pen to get that all stuck into place. Just pressing that down to hold it. Okay, I'll move along though while that's drying. So I've got my huge title. It could go at the top there, or we can place it at the bottom, which is where I'm thinking I'd like it to go. Let's have a look with our embellishments so we can see. I've got some of, I love these streamers. They could be layered with our balloon there. I've got, this could work, I've got a little gift here and a cupcake that we could layer just to the side there. And I've got some smaller sized streamers. Yes, I think that'll work nicely. So I am going to use some of my beloved foam squares to add this title. I've got my larger size squares there. So just add some to the back. Like so. And again, as I mentioned at the start of the video, these embellishments are all embossed. They've got a really lovely finish. They've got a bit of dimension to them. And you know how much I love a huge title. I think it just finishes off the page beautifully. So I'm going to finish off the page with a little bit of journaling in my balloon. I've printed my journaling on some photo safe paper. It's a little bit thicker grade to a regular copy or printer paper. And then I've just cut it into strips, and I'm using that for my journaling. I just like the aesthetic that this gives to the layout. I'm not a huge fan of my handwriting, and I know, you know, people say it's important to document your handwriting. I think my kids will understand why I don't, because, yeah, my handwriting's not the great. It's a little, not so great. It's a little messy. So I can just stick that into place. And then I think to finish, I'm just going to add, for a little bit of balance, just a couple of the streamer stickers as well from the sticker sheet. Just poking out there. And then a little candle just to the side of our title. That completes my layout for today. You can see just how quickly this has come together today, and as I mentioned at the start of the video, it's thanks to these supersized embellishments that's included in the Birthday Jubilee collection. I really hope you give this layout a try for yourselves. I'm going to upload it onto my blog as well, which you can check out. I will link that below this video alongside my website, where you will find the sketches that I shared earlier on in this video. But for now, take care, friends, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.